What's good, y'all? It's Timmy Too Dope. I appreciate you clicking on this video and kicking it with me today. The Diddy trial has finally wrapped up after months of the ongoing trial. There was a few moments in there where it was looking real good for Diddy. There was also a few moments in there where it was looking not so good for Diddy. But if you're Diddy sitting here today, if you're his team, if you're his family, I think you can count this as a victory. He was facing 5 different counts. He dodged 3 of them and basically only got stuck with the 2 transportation to engage in prostitution, which one of the counts was for Cassie. The other one was for an unnamed John Doe. The 2 big ones that he was facing was the RICO, the racketeering conspiracy case, and he dodged that one. And the other one was the sex trafficking count, and he managed to dodge that one. I don't know a lot about, the law and the court system and all that stuff, but from the little bit that I do know, I was expecting him to get stuck with at least one of the 2 between the RICO and the sex trafficking, and so I was kind of surprised that he didn't get stuck with either of them. Am I shocked at this outcome? Not really, but am I a little bit surprised that he didn't get stuck with either the RICO or the sex trafficking charge? Yes, I'm pretty surprised at that. So I just want to go over this article real quick by NBC News, just kind of wrapping up the trial, going into a little more detail on how the jury might have reached this verdict. And yeah, let's check it out. Headline says, Sean Diddy Combs found not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking, but convicted of lesser charges. Bad Boy Records founder faced federal charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He denied the allegations, obviously, and as you can see here, these are the 5 counts: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion. The 2 transportation to engage in prostitution, and then the 4th count, the sex trafficking by force. So it looks like he had 2 counts of the sex trafficking. And yeah, he didn't get stuck with either of them, just the 2 that's kind of wild to me. But it goes on to say, Sean Diddy Combs, the one-time global hip-hop titan whose federal trial unveiled harrowing testimony accusing him of sexual abuse against women and forced drug-dazed freak-offs, was acquitted Wednesday on racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, but found on lesser charges. The jury's verdict, delivered on the 3rd day of deliberations, declared Combs, 55, not guilty of 1 count of racketeering, conspiracy, and 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, but guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. I feel like I've said that about 4 or 5 times so far in this video. My bad. The verdict is seen as a win for Combs and the defense team, which did not call a single witness during the 7-week trial. After the verdict was read, the family stood in the background clapping and cheering. Combs fell to his knees in prayer as he left the courtroom. He told his family, "Thank you, love you." And as you can see, here's the courtroom sketch of Diddy breaking down after the verdict was read out. Tenny Garagos, one of Combs' attorneys, broke out in tears. Damn, he even got the attorney breaking down in tears. His lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, made a fist in triumph as the defense team hugged each other and hugged his family. Combs still faces considerable prison time. At sentencing, the prostitution transportation charge carries as much as 10 years in prison per count. So 2 counts, so he's facing up to 20 years for those 2 charges, the prostitution. Prosecutor Maureen Comey said the government would seek the maximum 20 years. And I feel like, yeah, like I said, I don't know too much about, the court system and all that, but I do feel like as a prosecutor, if you have 5 charges here and your job is to lock this dude up and get, him charged on all 4 counts or all 5 counts, excuse me, and he gets off on 3 of them, I feel like you have to go, it's like almost incentive to go extra hard on the 2 counts that you did get him on. You know what I mean? If he's facing a maximum of 20 years and I missed out on getting him for RICO, I missed out on getting him for 2 counts of sex trafficking. Yeah, if I'm the prosecutor, I'm pursuing that, you know, to the highest power. Excuse me. I'm pursuing that to the highest power because, you know, basically you making me look bad. The fact that I only got you on these 2 counts when it was 5 counts on the table, basically. Agnafilo asked U.S. District Judge, damn, these names killing me. U.S. District Judge Arun Subramanian to release Combs from federal detention where he has been for nearly a year. He also asked Combs to be released on conditions to his home in Miami and offered a $1 million bond. Submarine said he would review whether to release Combs later Wednesday after receiving arguments from prosecutors and the defense. These dudes really just want to wrap everything up by 4th of July. That was the hopes leading up to like the final deliberations and shit. And now he's like, man, now I got, you know, another decision to make. All right, I'm gonna worry about it later today. I'm gonna try to wrap this shit up by the 4th of July. I really don't blame him. I did see, I don't know if they're gonna cover it in this, but I did see Cassie or her lawyer was, you know, writing to the courts basically begging not to release Diddy because they still think he's a threat. Obviously, you know, they have proof of that with the video that came out of him assaulting Cassie. That didn't play really a factor into this because that was an account that he was facing. You know what I mean? It looks bad for sure. And they definitely tried to tie that into making him look like a monster, but that was an account that he was facing. So really, it really kind of didn't matter at the end of the day. And I did see that there's rumors that he could, reports, I guess, that he could be getting time served, which basically means he's been in federal detention for about a year. So if he faces 20 years, if he gets the maximum, he'll only have to serve 19 because he's already been in there 1 year. If I understand how time served and stuff works. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. Goes on to say chaos and celebration outside the courthouse. Combs' family, including his mother and son Justin Combs, left the courthouse shortly after the verdict. A crowd of supporters swarmed the family's waiting vans, shouting "Free Puff, Free Puff, Free Puff." His mother, Janice Combs, later returned to the courthouse, waving to onlookers and fans and blowing kisses. There's a picture of her there. Outside the courthouse, Combs supporters celebrated with baby oil. Yeah, I saw a few of those videos on Twitter, man, unfortunately. That's just wild, bro. Boondocks needs to come back ASAP. An apparent reference to supplies witnesses said they were provided for freak-offs. A woman in a bikini danced as a man dribbled baby oil on her from a nearby ledge. Yeah, that's the video I saw. And if you saw these videos of like the baby oil and shit, he had the baby oil, the Astroglide, and like climate control boxes and shit like that. Man, he took that seriously, man. Amid the throngs of onlookers were the influencers who have been chronicling the trial from the courthouse since it began roughly 2 months ago. Shout out to Lauren LaRosa, been killing it with the coverage. Inner City Press as well has been killing it with the coverage as well. LA-based YouTuber Armand Wiggins, who has more than 285,000 followers, declined to share thoughts on the verdict itself, but acknowledged the victory of a different sort. We changed the face of media. We changed the face of how news gets out. Wiggins said it was a fight in the beginning because a lot of times people don't respect the new media, but I'm one of those who's willing to fight with the traditional media because we do numbers. He definitely sounds like someone who's, was it Gen X, Gen Z, whatever this newer generation is. He definitely sounds like a younger kid for sure. The trial has drawn nationwide attention despite there being no cameras allowed in court, blah, 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 blah. And then it just kind of wraps up the trial and the rest of this article here. So basically, the too long, don't read. Diddy was facing 5 counts. He dodged 3 of them. He only got stuck with the 2 counts of prostitution for Cassie and the unnamed Jane Doe. The prosecutors are pursuing the maximum, which is 10 years per count of prostitution, so 20 years total. There are reports out there that Diddy could get time served, and he's been locked up for about a year. So if he does get the maximum, I do believe he'll get that 1 year off his sentence and only be facing the 19. Am I shocked? No. Am I a little bit surprised that he dodged 3? There's 5 shots sent at him. He dodged 3 of them, and he really only got grazed by the 2 of them. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, if it's not too dope, then it's probably mids.